Hello everyone, I'm Jeremy Reeves, head blender of Cornell & Diehl Pipe Tobacco Company, and today, in honor of upcoming Halloween and as we say around here, spooky season, I wanted to talk to you about this upcoming release of From Beyond. Those of you who may be familiar with previous releases of From Beyond will recall the story that that kind of led to us naming this. There's a Lovecraft story and a movie called From Beyond, but the reason for the name was because the blend itself was actually inspired by an old painted top 10 of Dunhill Nightcap that I had, and I set out not to recreate the blend nightcap, but to recreate using currently available components at C&D to try and recreate the flavor profile that I was getting from this very old tin of Nightcap. And so it was kind of a fun project for me, but I really loved what had happened with this tobacco through time in the tin, and so I kind of thought that there was a little bit of like a playing with time and space element to what I was doing, trying to use something that was not aged to try and recreate the flavor of something that had been accomplished through age. So that's kind of where this whole idea came from. The blend itself is a grouping of Virginia, Oriental, Latakia, and a heavy dose of Perique. The Virginias are Canadian and U.S. grown, very nice, sweet Canadian grown bright leaf, and really rich U.S. grown red Virginia. The Orientals are vintage Izmir, grown in Turkey, and Basma, grown in Greece. The Perique is from our farm partner in St. James Parish, 31 Farms, grown by the Roussel family, and I'm sure many of you are familiar at this point with their product and very high quality Perique that they produce. And then slightly different from last iteration that we did of From Beyond, the Latakia is actually produced in Turkey. The Turkish Latakia is such a step up in terms of quality from what has traditionally been available in Latakia for many years at this point. There is a company in Turkey that is made up of a group of guys who have a lot of experience in the tobacco industry from different parts of the industry, who essentially got together to try and re-envision the way that Latakia is produced, to try and make it something that was a more elevated component than what it has previously been. And so they just rethought the whole process and used key points from modern smoker barbecues and key points from modern day flue curing barns to essentially redesign this whole process of fire curing that has produced Latakia historically, and just make it better, just make a more predictable and more consistent product, and have very high level of control over what the end result is, and the results are fantastic. So where historically we've gotten Latakia from Syria, or then later from Cyprus as the Syrian Latakia went away. Now even Cyprian Latakia is becoming more hit and miss in terms of what is available, and this Turkish product is just fantastic. It is the best Latakia that we've ever used at Cornell and Diehl. It has delightful flavor profile. It's not so heavy on the super leathery, super powerful smoke, but there's more character to the smoke flavor. There's more sweetness that comes through. There's more woodiness that comes through. There's elements of kind of a fruity character that this Latakia has to offer, and in many ways it's actually sort of a throwback to the type of Latakia that was probably used in my old painted top 10 of Dunhill Nightcap, which undoubtedly was Syrian. All in all, I just love this blend. I think that it fills a niche of the Latakia mixture that has a lot of strength. Not just a lot of depth of flavor, but actual nicotine strength. I think that the interplay between the Oriental, the Latakia, and the Perique in particular are really the stars of the show. I leaned heavier on the Oriental in this blend than a little heavier on it than what likely was contained in the original Dunhill Nightcap that this was based on, because the Orientals were actually bringing forward a lot of the sort of volatile aroma characteristics and flavor characteristics that were produced by the fermentation in the 10. So that's a little look under the hood at how I kind of approach trying to recreate this. But ultimately, it's a blend that I think stands on its own to me, and that I really enjoy smoking. I think fans of older Dunhill mixtures will find a lot of enjoyment here. I also think that a lot of people who are interested in dabbling in Latakia, or who are interested in strong tobaccos, where there is still more of a focus on flavor rather than strength, and cigar smokers as well, may find a lot to love about this blend. If you're interested in Oriental tobacco, if you're interested in Perique, if you're interested in the way that these components kind of interact with one another, this would be a fun blend for you to try. And I would also recommend try getting some of the blending components that we sell, and that you can experience some of these things in their unadulterated form, so that you can begin to pick them out in a blend and see how they can be used in perhaps your own mixtures. So I hope everybody enjoys From Beyond as much as I have, and as much as we enjoy making it every few years. And I hope everyone has just a fantastic, creepy Halloween. Thanks so much, guys.